government finances. On the side, I'm also teaching at Loyola, and right up your neck of the woods, my current courses are money and banking on the one hand and public finance on the other hand. Both of them are a lot of fun. The Loyola student body is really nice and good. There's an ethics Jesuit thing going on here that's very, very powerful and good, I think. Another quick aside, a project I'm currently on, I think you might be interested in, because you guys like the old stuff, I think, is the, I was invited to contribute a chapter to a new book coming out of Palgrave on the Chicago School of Economics. And my assigned subject is a fellow named Paul Douglas, who was a very interesting professor of economics in Chicago for a long time. Became a city alderman and then a United States senator. And I'm learning more and more about him. I'm gaining a lot of respect for the man. His integrity and leadership of public policy for the common good, not for special interest groups, was really interesting. I see him as a kind of a leader in the form of, thanks, oh, beautiful, thank you. 10 years before really the founding fathers of the public choice school of economics got together and got started, I see Paul Douglas's work as being very influential, and 10 years before these folks were developing the ideas of a group that I respect a lot is the public choice school of economics, where we assume that people are rational, and that includes government servants. They aren't necessarily working for the public good, they're working for themselves oftentimes first, and as soon as you assume that they're rational like the rest of us, special interest groups can dominate public policy at the expense of the common good. And our goal is to, at Truth in Accounting, we're trying to help citizens understand finance and understand government finance and enable them to become informed participants in government. So I actually put this together really quick, so we'll see how it works, but the topic that was in my head was the public purse. What do we know and when do we know it? Oftentimes in finance, we're trying to, forecasting is sometimes a fool's errand compared. We have enough of a challenge trying to stay on top of current events, including in banking, bank accounting, bank financial reporting, and in the governments. And we're going to go over some material along those lines. First of all, this is what I just put together a bunch of charts from our State Data Lab resource, which you can see at www.statedatalab.org, that we put together at Truth in Accounting. This is all 50 states, the latest financial fiscal year, the timeliness of the annual report. How soon? Gotcha.
You hit the button accidentally.
Good. This is how long it took to produce the annual report after the end of the fiscal year. On average, you've got about, 180 days or so, or 6 months or so after the end of the fiscal year.
Illinois.
You get a report. Who do you think that John Hancock Center is up in the blue up there?
Illinois.
That's Illinois. It took more than 400 days after the end of the fiscal year to get the report for the state of Illinois. It's a joke. How do you rationally budget when you're working with data from 2.5 years ago? This is the, Illinois was on an improving trend on this score. They were delivering the information sooner, but they were still well above the national average. Illinois is traditionally one of the slowest reporting entities in the nation. And this last one was a beauty, maybe the worst of all since 2009. How about the federal government? How soon do we get our information from our federal government about the public purse? It's tending to move in the wrong direction. It's better than Illinois, but it takes up to 175 days after the end of the fiscal year. What makes this kind of interesting, and I think not just cute, but important, is the fact that we are given a State of the Union address by the President every year under the Constitution. And more often than not, that State of the Union address, A, is delivered before the financial